This is Talk of the Town, a weekly program featuring community events happening in and around Northeast Michigan, with your host, Nancy Smitham, and get the latest from Alpena Community College with Dr. Don McMaster. And now, today's Talk of the Town.
Good morning and welcome to Talk of the Town. I'm Nancy Smitham. My first two guests today are both from Huron Humane Society. I have Caitlin Tree and Cindy Johnson. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning.
You've brought a lovely guest with you today. Who wants to talk about this baby?
I have brought Cora along with me. She is a one-year-old mix. She is not at the shelter, but if you call the shelter at 989-356-4794, we can definitely give you some information about her. We have actually been working with Liberty's Dream Animal Rescue, and they have been helping us transport up dogs from Texas that are in high kill shelters. Okay. So she is one of those that I am fostering for the shelter. So they actually don't have a shelter, they are foster based. So she has been with me and she is up for adoption now. She's spayed, she's awesome with kids, cats, dogs, literally everyone. She loves attention. If you stop petting her, example.
She loves attention and she's just a sweetheart. Yeah,
so she is up for adoption now, and we also have 8 dogs from Texas that just arrived. So those are all up for adoption. They are on our website. We have a range of boxer mixes, pit mixes, and we have a German Shepherd. They are all such good dogs. So if you call the shelter, email us, message us on Facebook, we would be happy to give you information about those dogs.
Okay, now the fostering program you talked about, that's in Rogers City, correct?
Yes, through Liberty's Dream Animal Rescue.
Okay, so they find animals in kill shelters.
Yes.
And then they rescue them and then get them passed out to people who want dogs to have them in their forever home.
Yes, correct. They've done an awesome job. This is my 3rd foster from them, and I will do it a million times until the day comes where I can't anymore, but she is an awesome dog. I've been grateful to foster, and they're actually in need of fosters as well. So if anyone is interested in doing that, they would love inquiries.
So they can contact you to get some information. Okay, yeah, all right, very good.
Anytime.
And Cindy, what would we have to do to be able to adopt Cora?
You would have to contact Caitlin, because Caitlin works directly with Liberty.
Okay. Yep, Nancy Telgetska is the one who runs it, and Marie Molka, along with 1 or 2 other people. So if you contact the shelter or message Liberty's Dream Animal Rescue on Facebook, they'd be more than happy to give you some information about Cora and what it takes to adopt, or you can go to the website that's linked on their Facebook and fill out an application directly there. Or if you want to come to the shelter, she's always with me, so we can even do a meet and greet there.
Okay, wonderful. Okay, you put down on our list spay and neuter.
Yes, I just want to speak about spay and neuter a little bit. Especially with cats. It's kitten season. It started already. We have 4 pregnant cats in the shelter. People need to spay and neuter their animals. It's the only way to kind of get control of the unwanted pet population. We're currently trying to work with a woman who has 30+ cats. And a lot of them are pregnant. It's irresponsible to do that.
It is.
It's irresponsible, in my opinion, for people, and I know they think that they help by, if somebody puts an ad on Facebook, free kittens, to take the kittens, and to keep that cycle going, if not spay and neuter. If you adopt through a shelter, you get a certificate to get that done, and it kind of helps to control that. But we just don't encourage people to assist people who continue to collect animals and let them breed. This particular person thinks that she can control them. She knows when they're coming into heat. That's clearly not true, because we have 4 pregnant ones from that particular situation. And she has more that are pregnant. So please, please, please spay and neuter your animals. And be responsible when you are looking for an animal. Make sure that you can afford to get them spay and neutered if you're not going to a shelter and getting a certificate to get that done for free.
It's so sad when you drive down the street and you see cats laying on the side of the road, either alive or dead, and they're all beat up and nicked up, and you can tell they're underfed and not in good health. And I think how sad. Somebody wanted a kitten for their family and decided they didn't want it anymore and got rid of it, or they didn't have a spay and neuter situation at their house. If you have a pet, that's your responsibility.
Yeah, and it's for life. It's for their life.
Yes.
We want people, you're adopting an animal into your family.
Okay, and next on the list is pop cans.
Pop cans, you know, pop cans have really helped the shelter pay our bills, pay our employees. We can't gather for events. Fundraising is difficult, so we have to find innovative ways to raise money. So if you have pop cans, drop them at the shelter. It helps us carry out our mission. We've had a lot of, since the first of the year, and it's not unusual, but we've had a lot of hard cases that the medical on them is costly, and we're not going to euthanize them if they need their tail amputated. We're going to amputate the tail so that the cat can have a healthy life. And we've had, what, three tail amputations that came in, and if you don't do it, they continue to rot. So it's those sorts of things that we need to pay for because we don't want to euthanize those animals, but it's costly. It's costly, and the pop cans help. They just help us.
Okay. Next on the list is funds.
Yeah, this time of year.
You'd normally be gearing up for your huge fundraiser.
And we would have two of them coming up. We would have our bowl-a-thon and our gala, which we can't gather, we can't do.
Right.
So usually January, February, March are our slowest months in fundraising and people giving, and you understand that Christmas is over with COVID, people struggle, but if anyone can afford to send a check for the animals, it's much appreciated.
Okay, and next on the list, sorry, I can't really read that word.
Your list might be different than mine.
Looks like it says weeds, but I'm sure.
Oh, needs.
Needs. Okay.
Or weeds, whatever.
Weeds, needs.
That's funny. We always have needs. If people don't want to give money, we always need dish soap, wet cat food, bleach, laundry
kitty litter,
soap.
dry food.
Yes. So
wipes.
If you want to help out in that way, those are needs that we go through a lot of supplies, taking care of the shelter and keeping it clean and everything in good condition for the animals that come in. So.
Okay, and next is medical.
Medical. I'm telling you, it's been. Last year in medical, we had over $42,000 that we spent in medical.
Wow.
So when we fundraise, people have to understand some of it goes to food, some of it goes to medical, but medical expenses add up.
And vets are really good about giving you good rates and doing a lot of pro bono stuff.
The vets are absolutely wonderful, absolutely wonderful. But those are costs. So even if you don't want to give money to the Huron Humane Society directly for medical needs, if you're at any of the vet clinics in town, you can always put money on our account as well.
Okay.
So there's many ways to do that, but medical is a big one.
Okay, let's go back to the 8 dogs that are at the shelter now. And you said you have a mixture.
Yes, we have a few boxer lab mixes, we have a few pit mixes, lab mixes, and then we have one German Shepherd. He is a purebred. They are all such awesome dogs. We met them all for the first time yesterday, and they are all so spunky and loving. So we are so grateful that we have this opportunity to help out the dogs in need and get them homes up here, because there seems to be a shortage of dogs where we have a demand for dogs, and it's hard to fulfill sometimes. So we're helping down in Texas at the same time as rehoming all these animals to wonderful homes.
Okay, and to find out more information, they can go on your Facebook page or your website, and you can see all the animals and what you have to do to be able to adopt them.
Yep, all of them are on there. Not Cora, of course, but also I'd like to thank her foster tuning in from Ohio, and she did such an awesome job with Cora for the first 6 weeks of her recovery, and you see how spunky she is now and loving.
Yeah.
She's the star of the show.
It was amazing what rough shape she was in, and thank you so much for getting her back to good health, because she's beautiful.
Anything for the animals.
Yep. Well, we're out of time. I want to thank you both very much for being here, and I look forward to talking to you next month.
Thank you
too.
so much.
I'll be right back with some information about the Boys and Girls Club following these messages.
No.
Hi, welcome back. My last guest today is Brad Summers from the Boys and Girls Club of Alpena. Hi, Brad.
Hi, Nancy.
Thanks for being here today.
Well, thanks for having me.
And the club's open now, and how are things going?
Things are going really well. You know, we've seen a pretty big uptick in teen population. You know, we've had a lot of attendance for the younger members, obviously, but you know, right now we're seeing in between like 65 and 80 kids a day, which is starting to get back on pace to where we are, where we were kind of this time last year. You know, of course, too, we're doing a lot more of the cleaning, sanitizing, disinfecting, a lot more. You know, we have a very strict protocol. Just because we do have a lot of mitigation between different school systems, so we want to make sure to keep ourselves safe and the kids safe and the parents and the community at large. So, but you know, we're just really happy to be able to provide an awesome area for these kids to be able to come, socialize, get out of the house, and do something where they're running around and they're actually being, you know, physically active and stimulating their minds and feeding them and everything.
Now you'll have teen nights starting soon.
Yep, so we're hoping middle part of March and doing some really fun things again. Just giving teens a time to be at the club, you know, without the little kids running around, but just doing some basketball tournaments, some video game tournaments, you know, we want bowling, do some special events with them, and just really just give teenagers an opportunity to be together, to socialize, to talk, you know, in a positive environment where, you know, there's wonderful caring staff around them too, and just have fun.
Okay, wonderful. And also the most important thing I think that you do is offer that free meal every day.
Yeah, that's it's been a staple program of ours for 20 plus years. You know, right now we're serving, you know, approximately 60 meals a day to kids that are at our facility. We're still doing some mobile meals for some families that have a hard time with transportation. We're making sure that, you know, we're taking care of them as well. But we are, yeah, we're still, you know, rocking it when it comes to making sure that kids go home, you know, fed, especially after school. It really helps too when they get there, you know, they're able to have a snack and a meal, and then we go into the homework tutoring portion. So it's one less thing that they have to think about, one less thing that's on their mind, like, oh, I'm really hungry, or, you know, I wish I had a snack. Well, we can provide all of that. So, you know, that's been a blessing for us for many years.
And now you just mentioned homework help, and you know, Brad, as we had a conversation, you know, kids are struggling with this online learning or 2 days a week thing. I mean, kids are really struggling. There are a lot of kids failing school, and it's so unfortunate because it's due to COVID and what's going on. So what do you do to assist those kids?
So we're doing a lot of tutoring services. We're working with some of the school systems and some of the teachers to try to get these kids back on track. You know, right now they're only 2 to 3, 4 weeks into the semester, and we have kids that are just about failing every single class. And a lot of times what it isn't the kids aren't comprehending what's going on, it's just they're having a hard time with submitting, you know, their completed homework, or they're forgetting to submit it, or something along those lines. So, you know, we're really trying to get these kids so that, you know, they can get caught back up and get the good grades that they're used to seeing, because a lot of these kids aren't kids that normally fail. Right. So that's been the heartache of this, is seeing a kid that, you know, may get straight B's, you know, is getting almost straight F's now. And a lot of it is just missing assignments.
And you know, I can have empathy. I know that I can't learn by sitting at a computer screen looking at something. I have to have someone show me, and then I have to be able to ask questions. And I guess you can do that all online, but it can't be a great format.
Yeah, it's the old school way of thinking, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You know, with technology and the hindrances that and the challenges it provides, or it has on the families that may not have all the technological, you know, ability. You know, the school system's working very hard to make sure that they're providing these things for the kids, but we're just trying to be that extra step too, to, you know, to partner with the school system and partner with the families to try to get these kids up.
And you know, if the parents are working on the days they're home, you have to have somebody there, so you're being a parent, a grandparent, and a teacher. I mean, that just wouldn't be something I would be good at. I mean, Lord bless the teachers, because they're wonderful. That's not something that I could do.
Yeah, I have a 2- and a 4-year-old, and I have a hard time keeping up with them. So I couldn't imagine. I couldn't imagine. So it's cool when the kids start getting caught back up, and then they see that extra support. You know, like you're saying, you know, sometimes it's not all there in the families, and you know, everybody's busy. We're trying to work. We're trying to be home. We're trying to. It's just a lot of different things. So, you know, whatever we can do to support that, and whatever we can do to help get these kids back to their, you know, their educational prowess is very important to us.
Okay, I want to make sure we talk about the ongoing campaign and fundraising before we run out of time.
So the capital campaign is ongoing, or it has started, and we're looking at, we're talking to a lot of people in the community about opportunities to give. We have several naming opportunities and ways that you can, donate and support this project. It's at the 801 East Campus location, we would potentially we're going to be moving from an 8,000 square foot facility to a 21,000 square foot facility. So we're very excited to have extra room, because we are, even at 60, 70 kids a day, we're still busting at the seams. So we're excited to be able to expand what we do in our community, but it's going to take the community to get there.
Yes.
$10, $1, anything. We are looking for anybody that wants to step up to help with this project. This capital campaign is a lot of hard work for, myself and of course the board of directors. They're working very hard to, talk with businesses and individuals in this community to get the word out. And we're very lucky to have 95 years of history in our community. So, 1926 is when the Boys and Girls Club was founded.
It's amazing.
It was called the Boys Club at that point, but, we're very lucky to have that rich history. And then the East Campus location that we purchased also has, the Catholic Central history. So there's a lot of history, and being able to refurbish a building in the community and not just knock it down, and to be able to utilize it for something very important to help our community. Having a Boys and Girls Club is very important. So we're very excited to be able to.
And when you think about maybe 60 kids a month at $10 for a school year, $600 that's for a whole school year, but yet you're paying a gas bill, a power bill, insurance and maintenance and salaries and buying food and doing all of those things.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's a no-brainer that we need to raise some money for these wonderful programs to continue.
Yeah, well, thank you for that. Yes, I mean, that's a big portion of my job, is making sure that we can keep the lights on so that these kids continue having a place to grow and thrive.
Now, you're thinking you're going to have a fundraiser in June.
Yep, so we usually have it in March,
Right.
Our bowling fundraiser, usually St. Patrick's Day, but because of some of the COVID restrictions, we're not doing that at this point. We really want to do an in-person, not where everybody has to be, 2 feet apart or anything like that. But of course, social distancing and have all the protocols in place, but an actual time where we can get together and talk, and kind of do it like the traditional style that we've had. So we're kind of waiting for things potentially maybe to loosen up when it comes to some of these regulations. But right now I think the Thunderbolt lanes is about half capacity. So it's instead of the 12 lanes that we normally do, we get 6 lanes. We could do it longer. There's a lot of different options, but we just want to have a time where we can all just kind of come out of the woodwork and say hi to each other again. So that's what we're working on.
Okay.
We're hoping June is going to be the time.
Thank you so much. We're out of time, and thanks for all the good work you're doing and keeping all those kids safe.
Thank you, Nancy.
Please stay tuned for Dr. Don McMaster following these messages.
Greetings, everyone, and welcome to Talk of the Town. I'm Dr. Don McMaster, president of Alpena Community College, and I'm pleased to have as our guest this morning Andrew Pad, machining instructor at Alpena Community College. Welcome, Andrew.
Thank you.
Well, we had a good week this week. We learned that we are going to be awarded, or have been awarded, a $2.4 million grant from the U.S. Economic Development Administration that benefits your program and Tim Rotz's welding program. So how does that, what do you think?
Oh, it's very exciting. The money will come in so handy. The expansion of space, machines, and work area is going to be an immense benefit to both of our programs.
Wonderful. So the basic premise for those folks who are familiar with the space welding and machining occupy, they're in Besser Tech in pretty tight quarters. But we used to run an auto body program, that space is vacant. And so the machining program will move into auto body, which will about maybe double your space.
Fairly close, yep.
And then welding will be able to more or less double its space, moving into the space you vacated. So 2 really vibrant programs, great instructors with you and Tim Rotz. So, what's your overall, you see a lot of good things on the horizon for the program?
Absolutely. The space itself is going to be just huge. The technology grows so quick nowadays. Where it used to be a couple machines would, be able to satisfy everything. Now there's, you know, not only is the machine itself changed, but it's branched out into 2 or 3 different even types of machines. And that's true of welding, and that's true of machining. So we need the space because we can't just put 5 of one machine there. We have to have you know, a multitude of machines and then a bunch of those so the students can work. So the space is going to be huge for us, yes.
Yeah, wonderful. And there's money for equipment as well. Maybe you can reflect, you would know better than anyone, there's jobs out there in welding and machining in Alpena, in the region, and these are good jobs.
Absolutely. It's hard times for a lot of companies right now. My freshmen have jobs. You know, they're coming in and they've been here how many months, and they're already going out and getting jobs. And you know, to the credit of all our businesses local, they work with all of our students. And we're even kind of changing a little bit. We're going to start offering more night stuff and machining. So these students they can go out and work and get experience as well as the scholastic knowledge. So, you know, and there's such a need. I got a call just a couple weeks ago from Colorado again. The same person calls every few weeks. So anybody that wants to move to Colorado, you know, we got a machining job for you. But I've had students even just moved out of state. The jobs are everywhere. So if you want to leave Alpena, there's plenty of jobs. If you want to stay in Alpena, there's equally the number of jobs. Both machining and welding are very understaffed at this point.
Indeed. I mean, I think it's kind of conventional wisdom that the pandemic has affected all business sectors equally and negatively. But the manufacturers I deal with, many of them are thriving.
Mm-hmm. And that also goes to the fact that they were understaffed before the pandemic, and now manufacturing is even going faster and harder, and there's less people even than before. So it's definitely an area that you will never have a problem finding a job. So
yeah, that's wonderful. I was walking through yesterday and speaking to Tim Rotz, and I was struck by how many young women, or how many women there are in the welding program, which I've heard that is kind of a trend, and that women make very good welders.
Absolutely, we've had them in machining and welding, and you know, I think from my perspective, it's still kind of funny to see that people are so surprised by it, and it's become more of a norm than anything anymore, which is excellent, because it's, you know, it should be something that's open to everybody as well as it helps the workforce. If we're not saying that somebody can't do something, you know, our workforce just expands, so it's excellent.
Absolutely. So describe your program a little bit for people who are unfamiliar with what machinists do or what a machining curriculum might look like.
Our machining curriculum is pretty wide-reaching. So a student would come in and start out in manual machining, learn some fundamentals on a mill and a lathe. Once you get some basic knowledge, would move into CNC. Now there's more manual machining classes as well as CNC. We also rely heavily on CAD and CAM, which is one of the great things about our programs is we incorporate all of them. So our CAD department works with us, and our welding department, we all work together, and towards the end we work on these senior capstone projects, and it really brings everything together. You know, and as they say, nobody wants just a machinist or a welder or even a CNC operator. They want everything, somebody that can operate it and program it and, you know, understand CAD, and it makes you a better worker. You know, if you're designing something, to know that you can design something that you already know can be machined, or you can look for problems, but maybe it couldn't be welded easily that way. And you know, so even a designer needs all of that knowledge. And that's, I think, one of the best parts of the program is all of it's pulled together.
I agree with that. That's so integral, where the programs aren't siloed and don't interact with each other, but at ACC they do, and this replicates what workers are going to see in the workplace. And this makes our graduates more valuable.
Absolutely, and I've been, as much as I can, I try to get with our local businesses and ask what exactly you know, they need, because even the same company doesn't need the exact same thing, And that's another great thing about ACC is I have a student right now who's specifically going into one field in machining, and we can tailor what he is learning to exactly that, his future career. There, you know, it's not just a blanket curriculum, and we do a lot of competency based. So his competency needs to be in one specific area, and he can progress as fast as he wants. And if you're willing to put in the effort, there's so many credentials and you know, opportunities for you. That's one of the great things.
Absolutely. You had referenced something that is very interesting, is CNC. What is that?
CNC is computer numerically controlled. So our machine, back when we used to have you know, banks of say 30 or 40 milling machines, now we can have 1 or 2 that just automatically do it. So the process itself became a little bit more involved and a little different skill set. So everybody says, well, a manual machinist should be a CNC or vice versa, and they are totally different sets of skills. But it involves a lot more. So you have to have a programmer in a lot of cases, or a CAD and a CAM programmer and stuff like that. So it kind of opens the door. And the nice thing is, you're no longer just a machinist. If you can learn all the skills, you can put that on a resume, and we have credentials for every one of those. You know, and if you can put that on a resume, not only are you more useful to a company, you have the option. Maybe, you know, there's no machining in town, for the strange fact that that would happen, let's say, but you could then go out and be a programmer, or be a CAD operator, or even a manual machinist. So the avenues for your career and your future is just immense when you start to get into all these different categories.
Well, Andrew, thank you. That's great, a great synopsis. Thank you for what you do. We're looking forward to implementing the grant to support your area and Tim Rotz's area. Thank you, folks, for watching Talk of the Town. We'll see you again next week.
This has been Talk of the Town with your host, Nancy Smitham and Dr. Don McMaster. For a list of community events taking place in Northeast Michigan, please visit our website at wbkb11.com and click on our community link. This has been a Thunder Bay Broadcasting Corporation production.